Thanks, Ceann Corla. Minister, this question is in relation to supports afforded to childcare facilities to enable them to reopen and remain viable in view of the fact that in the first 6 months of this year, Tussla was notified of 123 closures of childcare settings, and what steps are being taken to ensure sustainability and capacity in the sector. Thanks.
Thank you, Minister.
Thanks very much, Deputy. Well, look, each year there are a number of early learning and care and school-age childcare services that close for a variety of reasons. And services intending to close, they have to notify the childcare regulator, TUSLA, of that fact. The most recent available data for this year to date shows that 123 services, as you've noted, have notified that they won't be reopening, and also 39 new services have notified TUSLA that they will be opening this year. And the number of services closing this year to date is actually slightly lower than the same number last year. And in total, in last year, 200 services shut, whereas in 2017 and 2018, it was about 150 each year. And look, as regards supports, I suppose in the July stimulus package that was announced on the 25th of July, I provided a very substantial stimulus package for the childcare sector. It included the resumption of all my department's childcare schemes, access to the employee wage subsidy scheme, and we estimate that right now, on average, the employee wage subsidy scheme funds about 38% of childcare providers' costs on average, and obviously that's a very significant direct state support. In June, my department had previously announced both a capital and reopening support grant, and about 3,800 services signed up for these. And in total, 94% of services which normally open over the summer resumed their service. And look, I think this illustrates the success of the measures the government took to support the childcare sector. And I really want to commend the sector for all the hard work of both the providers and the childcare professionals, and the real commitment they demonstrated, particularly to the children in their care, in undertaking that very major reopening. And I'm very conscious that some services may struggle to remain viable in the coming months. And as a result, I've assured there is $2 million available in a COVID sustainability fund. And I think, Deputy, you probably have a question for me about that later on as well.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Funchion.
Thanks, Minister. Yeah, I think one of the other questions I have is in regards to sustainability. I suppose you won't be surprised at this stage for me to say, I do believe it's a sector that has been probably undervalued for years and underfunded for years. So hopefully that you are going to be the Minister to change this and to actually ensure that the sector is funded correctly. But I suppose, I know that you'll always have a certain amount of closures, as it's just natural for that to happen, but there was 42 in Dublin, 16 in Cork and 13 in Kildare. I'm just conscious of those in those areas for parents, like what steps are, or what supports, like are they given support maybe through the city and county childcare committees to access other childcare places, and then also that's not even taken into account the workers in the sector and the fact now that then there's obviously job losses, which is what we do not want to see, particularly in relation to COVID and the amount of job losses that we're going to see anyway. This is a sector that we want to try and hang on to those very valuable, highly trained staff. So I suppose just what supports maybe are there for them in that situation where the facility closes. Thanks, Ceann Corla.
Thanks, Deputy. And look, you're absolutely right on the need for that element of wider support. And I think when you put down the motion earlier on in the last term, I think we had a good discussion there about some of the key things that are happening in the department in terms of the workforce planning, looking at building real careers for childcare professionals, in terms of the operational model, which I brought through Cabinet, but also in terms of the expert group looking at the overall funding of childcare and looking at how childcare is funded in other countries as well, and drawing useful comparisons there. So a large body of work is being done at the moment, some of it begun by my predecessor and some of it been undertaken by me as well, and we'd hope by the middle of next year to have substantive pieces of research done, which we can then look to build on the kind of the future vision of childcare. Just to come back specifically to your question, yes, the CCCs can engage with parents and give them advice about other services where there are vacancies in situations like that, where a childcare service has ceased to operate.
Funchion.
Ceann Corla, I suppose just to ask as well, and I'm not sure if this is part of a further question, but I'll take the opportunity to ask it now. In relation to after schools, I've come across a number of after schools that, like, they're obviously running maybe their normal day service, but can't seem to run the after schools part or the collection part. The transport maybe seems to be an issue, or there's some issue around the after schools now. And they're, in the incidents that I've come across anyway, they're saying to parents it's to do with COVID guidelines. Now, I don't see how that can be the case, but I'm just wondering, would you have any information in relation to specifically after schools and the situations with them? Thanks.
Thank you. Minister?
Like yourself, Deputy, I don't see how the guidelines, I don't initially see how the guidelines would impact on after school more than any other element there. They apply generally, and I'm not sure, is it the actual rules themselves, or is it a financial concerns about staffing to monitor that in and out? But again, there are financial supports in the context of the reopening grant there that is specifically provided, and is a significant payment. Look, if the Deputy has more specific details, I'm happy to touch base with her subsequently on that.
Thank you, Minister. Question.